Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel for an actual book related video. Since it's December and it's the end of the year, I wanted to do a couple of videos that kind of wrapped up my reading for the year. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my microphone. Okay, that wrapped up my reading for the year. So, the first thing I wanted to do was go over the top books I read this year. And a lot of people are doing like the top 10 books they read this year, but since I only read 25 books, that would be almost half the books I read. So I'm going to do the top 5 books I read this year. Okay, so without further ado, so the first book I read was, no, not the first book, but actually, let's do this countdown style. So the number 5 book, because I did order them in like my favorite to least favorite, but we're going to do, I mean, not least favorite. These are the top 5 books I read, so these are all going to be favorites, but like, I did rank them is what I'm trying to say. So coming in at number 5 is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this book, and I'm excited to read the other 2 in the trilogy, I think. I have talked about it a couple of other times recently, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I really enjoyed it. The audiobook was fantastic. The narrator, January Lavoie, I think is her name, did a great job. So I was very, very pleased. Okay, coming in at number 4, we have Pawn of Prophecy. Now, this is the first book in the Belgariad, and this is something that my husband had been on my case to read for a super long time, and I tried the audiobook, and the first part of the audiobook is rough, guys. It's rough. So I gave up. I was like, whatever, I can't do this. We rechecked out the audiobook. And once you get past the preamble or preface or whatever you want to call it, the like first 45 minutes where it's just like the backstory of the world, basically, it gets way better. It's still not my favorite audiobook, but it definitely grew on me. Sorry, my arm itches. I tried scratching through the sweater and the arm, or the sweater and the arm, the sweater and the shirt, and it didn't cut it. So, yeah, so it's still not my favorite audiobook ever. What is going on? I've calmed this down like 4 times. You guys. I almost didn't film, but I was like, the people want videos. And I have them all outlined and everything. I just need to film it. I'm still not feeling great. Anyway. Yeah, so still not my favorite audiobook, but it gets way better. So if you're someone who only does audiobooks, it is totally worth pushing through and reading the rest of the book, because the book itself is really great. Like, really great. And I've talked about it in other videos, so I'm not going to go into more detail, but Pawn of Prophecy comes in at number 4. Okay, number 3 is The Rewind Files. This book, I didn't really know anything about it other than that I came across a Twitter feed that had the author. She was like rambling about some stuff, and then at the end she was like, is this a good time to talk about my book? And she gave like a little blurb, and I was like, that sounds interesting. And it's like really hard to find. It was only available, I think, as, let's see, I think Amazon only had it as a Kindle version, and Barnes & Noble had it as Nook and hard copy, but there was like no audio version. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to find. And I think they were only available online. Like the Barnes & Noble one only had, like the hard copy was available, but you could only find it online. It wasn't available in stores or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was really good though, you guys. Like really good. I was surprised considering that it was obviously like, I don't know if self-published is quite the right term, but the publishing company has only published that book and like 3 other books. So almost self-published, and like, yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There's a video on it coming that I've already filmed that'll be coming out in January, so you'll get more details. Okay, number 2. So this is The number 2 book is The Final Empire, which is the first in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. And this was something that I had heard a lot about, and everybody like talked about it. They're super famous books, and I just was like, Brandon Sanderson is the guy that finished off Wheel of Time, and those books are like 1,000 pages,
and they're amazing.
And they're amazing, apparently. Mistborn books aren't quite that hefty, but I just was like, that's so meaty, and that's so much more than I really want to do. And then enough people talked about them that I was like, fine, I'll do it on audiobook. I don't want to read that. And then I did the audiobook, and I was like, oh dang, this was amazing. I get why everyone's talking about it. So I am way late on the bandwagon. Like, he has in the Cosmere, which is the like Mistborn world, I think his end goal is to do 3 trilogies that are all like in their own time but still set in that world. And I think he's like on book 8 of 9 writing them. Like, I'm pretty sure that's where he's at. So I'm way, way, way behind. And I realize this, but you guys, if you've been kind of like, well, that seems like something I'd enjoy, but it's like way more, it's too much effort or whatever, like, do the audiobook then. It's fine. It's worth it. So good. So good. And number 1, no one's gonna be surprised, it's Kingdom of Ash. The dog got all excited. He's like, what's happening? Yeah, no one's gonna be surprised by this. It was so good, and it was such a good, in case you don't know what Kingdom of Ash is, it's the last book. It's the last book in the Throne of Glass series, and it was such a well done finale. The author did a great job of giving everybody like screen time. There were so many characters that were each kind of doing their own thing, but she was able to give them each like their own time. He found a squeaky ball. She was able to give each character like screen time and what they were doing without it being like confusing. At no point was I like, wait, what's going on? And then everything like tied together really well. I feel like she wrapped the series up in a very satisfying way that made sense for the series. So yeah, really great. Super enjoyed it. So those were my top 5 books for 2018. Hopefully there will be enough books next year that I read that we can do a top 10. Because top 5 is kind of weak sauce, but it is what it is. You work with what you've got. So I will see you later for another video talking about more things that I read in 2018. Bye. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, I gotta pose for the thumbnail.
Oh, dude.
It's true. If I do it like this, I feel like a babushka. A babushka. Like a Russian grandma. What should I do? Hey, good boy. All the books I read. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not actually trying to. So rude.